tense. A lot more military checkpoints, a lot more military hardware than we saw there yesterday. As an indication of how tense it is, we were preparing to go live, to do a live broadcast where out of nowhere, seemingly, a group of Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian police appeared with their guns, many of them pointing towards us, firing in the air. They demanded that we get out of the vehicle. We threw ourselves to the ground. Our cameraman's telephone was kicked out of his hand and 2 bullets fired from a Kalashnikov into that telephone. Now, it's important to recognise that these men were just doing their jobs. There are increasing fears amongst the Ukrainian military and security services about what they describe as saboteurs, trying to get into cities and compromising military positions. But as I say, our cameras were still rolling when this incident happened. Let's take a look. Hi, Doha. Hey. Stop filming.
Журналисты, можно я выйду?
Journalist.
Можно я выйду?
Journalist.
Выйти можно?
Journalist.
Go out of the car. Журналисты. Откройте дверь, пожалуйста. Что делать?
Also reports from the port city of Mariupol, witnesses telling us that what they describe as being increasing numbers of paramilitaries on the streets, Ukrainian paramilitaries helping the Ukrainian army trying to defend the city from what we understand is a push by Russian forces from the west. We know that the city has also suffered heavy shelling from the east. We've also been speaking to people fleeing the area north of Crimea, around the city of Kherson. People telling us or alleging that Russian forces that have taken control of some of those towns are preventing Ukrainian citizens from leaving them. The situation on the roads around Dnipro, very tense. Checkpoints a lot more strict. At one checkpoint, we saw a Russian helicopter fly low over the checkpoint, causing panic, causing people to scatter away, even the security services that were manning that checkpoint. But there are increasing fears of the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of civilians that are trying to put as much distance as they can between them and Russian forces advancing on these Ukrainian cities as the front lines become increasingly blurred.
Well, police in Russia have launched a crackdown to deal with the growing anti-war sentiment. Close to 2,000 people angry over the war in Ukraine have been arrested since the offensive began. The unrest has spread to 54 cities. And anti-war protests aren't just taking place in Russia. People around the world have been expressing their outrage at the invasion. Nadeem Barber reports from London on the demonstrations across Europe.
In the heart of London, demanding more be done for Ukraine. Many of these protesters are Ukrainian with family and friends back home that they're desperately worried about. People like Ella Medvedeva, who came to Britain more than 20 years ago.
I still remember stories from my grandmother and great-father about the Second World War and how the fascists came, and it's just happening again. And it's not just the military, right? Objects, infrastructure, they're killing people.
There were similar solidarity protests across Europe. This was Munich in the south of Germany, itself no stranger to upheaval and dark episodes in history.
We are worried about our brothers, sisters, our relatives. You look at the people gathered here, and everybody is scared that war will break out in Europe.
In the Italian capital, a large crowd called for more pressure on Russia. And in Paris, they gathered in the Place de la République, calling on NATO to protect Ukraine's airspace. That was a key demand in London too.
I think we should be supporting militarily Ukraine as best as possible. There's a madman at the moment in the Kremlin, and I mean, we have to we have to do what we can.
The crowd here has been chanting glory to Ukraine and denouncing the Russian president, but they've also been calling for specific measures they want Britain to take right now, including greater financial sanctions and more military help for Ukraine's armed forces. And while the Ukrainian flag now flies from government buildings, many are angry there's no legal route for most Ukrainians to seek asylum.